When people say that you should carry each other's burdens, then sometimes they put that into the context of, well, you need to stay around toxic people or people that have a lot of issues or create a lot of issues and then become a victim in their problems that they create. And the reality is, a burden is something, it's like grief or a loss or an emotional time. It's not the person's patterns of their life that you're supposed to carry. Because in the Bible, it talks about the difference between burdens and a load. So if you're carrying the load of that person, that you're not helping them. You're actually enabling them not to carry their own weight. And when somebody doesn't have to carry their own weight, then it's like you think you're helping them by continuing to do these things for them, but then they're not learning how to do them on their own. And we can always take verses in the Bible and be like, well, it says we should do this. But if we're not really understanding that verse or that scripture, then we're twisting it to fit what we think we should do. Like carrying somebody's burden is walking with them through a difficult time because it's too hard for them to carry on their own. It's too heavy. That's what a burden is. It's something that's too heavy for them. But carrying their load through life is not fair. So if you have people around you that manipulate you to carry their load, basically they want you to take on their problems. They want you to be a part of their problems. They want you to help them all the time, but they're not willing to do what it takes to help themselves. And just because somebody needs help doesn't mean they want it. Like, you can see, well, what I'm doing is helping them. But if you look at the patterns and the habits of that person, are you really helping them? Did they change? Did what you did for them, by you going out of your way to do what you did for them, did that give them the breakthrough that they needed? Are they different? You have to look at the fruit. God says to judge them by their fruits. So if their fruit's the same, now if they're working on changing, like they're going through addiction recovery or alcohol recovery, something like that, and it's taking time, that's different, because you see, okay, this person is working it out. They're walking out their healing. They're doing what it takes to do. They're basically, they want to be different. They want to change. They want to grow. That's different, because then you see, okay, this person is working. They're working on it, and it's not perfect, but they're trying. It's like your kid's trying to ride a bike, they're stumbling, they're working on it. You're walking with them to work on what it is that they're trying to do, trying to change and trying to grow or whatever. But just carrying somebody's load, or especially if that person is stealing your peace, stealing your joy, or affecting your marriage, and it's affecting your life. Sometimes we think we need to carry the burdens of the in-laws or the cousins or the brothers and the sisters and the moms and the dads that have an opinion about how you live and what you should do. I know a lot of people, when they have kids, their parents get involved. I know grandparents are great for the most part, but a lot of times they get involved and they want to parent. They want to do things their way, and it can cause a lot of conflict in a marriage. And so you have to be able to set boundaries. There is nothing wrong with setting boundaries in your life, and God wants us to walk in peace. He wants us to forgive people that hurt us, but he doesn't say you have to stay in relation with them. He never says that. He doesn't say, oh, stay in relationship with this toxic person, or with this continue this family member, having this family member nearby even though it's ripping your marriage apart, or continue this relationship with this friend even though they're toxic and all they want to do is drink and gossip. He doesn't say that just because you don't want to hurt them or whatever. So we have to get really clear on, well, what does God mean when he says this? There's so many verses in the Bible that we can take and we can twist to fit our own. Another one is the verse where wives submit to your husbands. This is a verse that's thrown around that most husbands will say, well, you need to submit to me. This is what it says. But what you don't see is what it says after that. And it says, husbands, lay down your life for your wife. You love your wife as Christ loved the church. There's a lot more for the husbands to do than there is for the wives to do. And what the wife does is would end up being a natural response to how the husband treats her and how he loves her. So a lot of times the husband will say, well, you need to do this. It also says in Ephesians, submit to each other. So, you can pick and choose what you want to, what verse you want to use to fit into your life or to fit into your marriage. But you have to be fair. Like, God is a just God. He's not going to say you need to stay in this relationship or you need to stay with this friendship or whatever when it's pulling you away from him or stealing your peace or turning you into a toxic person. So being able to put up boundaries and recognize, hey, this person is not, this family member or whatever is causing issues in my life, in my marriage, or stealing my joy, and they're not willing to change, you have to walk away from that. God does give us really clear instructions on letting them go on their way. If they don't want to give up or die to self, change, grow, you let them on their way. You just say, okay, and you just let them on their way. You don't throw your wisdom to the swine. You don't keep trying to change them, because they're not going to change until they have that, until they see it themselves, until they get to that point where they want to change. So you might think you're helping. You might think, well, by me giving this person money or by me helping this person, you're not. You're enabling them. You're enabling them to not do what they need to do for themselves. You're enabling them to stay on this level that they're on, whatever they allow and tolerate in their life. They're the ones allowing it. They're the ones tolerating it. They're the ones in agreement with it. So, and it's so interesting that people will get what they want because they're manipulating you. If you're coming to their rescue when they need, they're getting what they want. So what if they wanted to change? What if they put that amount of effort to get those drugs or to get that whatever? If they put that amount of effort into them wanting to change? Think about it. Like, you're becoming a vehicle for them to remain the same. And this is what God does not want us to continue enabling each other. He wants you to demonstrate with your life and walk closely with him. And the right people will see that demonstration, and then they will see your life as a testimony, and then they will want to make them want to change, hopefully. But you have to demonstrate it, so you have to walk it out. You have to be that way, but the other person has to want to change. I'm doing 2 walks today. Look at this glorious sky. Like, is this not insane? Look how beautiful this is. Just had to stop and show you guys. Like, look at these clouds back here. So good, so beautiful, so gorgeous. A load is your daily responsibility. That's your daily habits. That's your daily choices. That's your responsibility. That's your job to carry out. And if you don't like the results, then you have to change the habits, because you are creating your own results. I mean, most of the time we're just living in the results of the choices we made. So basically, whatever you decided or you were thinking maybe a few months ago, you're now living out. So some part of you brought you to where you're at. You didn't just put on weight. You thought about, you let your subconscious or your habits control. Then you went into action of eating and sitting, and that's what made you put on weight. Just like you don't just get in shape, or you don't just wake up one day and you're all of a sudden in shape. It's your habits day to day that get you there. So you can't allow people to complain about these habits, these results that they're experiencing from their own habits that they're unwilling to do anything about. Like, they don't want to change, but they want to complain to you about their habits. Oh, my joints ache all the time, and they're huge, and they're eating pie every day. It's like, well, your joints ache because there's too much pressure on them. There's too much pressure on them because you're not exercising and you're eating too much. That's why they ache. And you could feel bad for them, but the truth will set them free. Hey, maybe if you change your lifestyle habits, your joints won't ache. And it's the truth. And some people don't want to hear the truth because they're like, that's so mean. It's not mean. Like, you want freedom or not? You want breakthrough or not? Do you want to live a good life or not? Because the truth sets you free. Remember, people will get mad at you sometimes for speaking the truth. Most of the time they will. They don't want to hear it. And they will fight you to defend the lie. No, that's not it. That's not why. How do you it's like, and they'll say things like, well, you're just self-righteous. No, it's not. If somebody has clarity, doesn't mean it's pride. There's a difference. If you're speaking from a place of wisdom and clarity, that's different from a place of pride and ego. Pride and ego says, I want to be right. Clarity and wisdom say, I want you to be free. So there's a difference in that. And so if somebody's coming to you from a place that's they want to be right, or they just want to get their point across, maybe you want to get your point across because there's freedom in it when the other person gets it or understands. But again, if you're trying to change somebody who doesn't want to change, it's kind of in vain. You know, you're trying to change that person who doesn't want to change themselves. You know, they have to carry their own load. It's not for you to carry. And if you're choosing to spend your life carrying that person's load, thinking you're doing them a favor, thinking, well, I'm carrying their burdens because they need help and I love them, you're only hurting yourself, is what you're doing. You're not getting any, you're not making any improvements with them, maybe temporarily. It's like, now don't get mad at me, but when people say, well, there's a homeless person on the side of the road, you feed him, you give him money. No, I don't. I did for a while until I realized, well, this is kind of a waste because I'm doing what I have to do to produce. And my kids say, sure, yeah, you're helping that person, they're hungry. But they're there every day. And every day we would drive by and the same person's there. And it's like, well, am I really helping that person? Because they're not helping themselves. And I don't know what they're doing with that money. And sure, you can drop off bottled water and help them with food or whatever. But is that enough to make them want to change? Or are you just making it easy? Are you just becoming the vehicle for them to get their means in an easy way so they don't have to do the work? Now, of course, there's reasons. Veterans, people with PTSD, drug addictions. So I started teaching my kids, you know what? When we drive up to a corner, there would always be this guy that would like wave to us. I go, don't wave back. He's waving and he's looking you in the eye so you can feel bad for him. He's manipulating you to feel bad for him to give him money. Now, what if we gave money to the places that help them? To a shelter or, and we did give homeless bags before in the summer because it is hot and they need water. And so we would give bags, homeless bags and, you know, with water and snacks and stuff. And one guy didn't want it. I don't want this. I want money. Yeah, well, he didn't even want the free goods. But the point is that day after day, they'd still be there. A year later, the same person's there. It's like, okay, well, what is all this money that they're getting from everybody? What are they doing with it? Well, of course, they're just feeling their own addiction, and we're making it possible for them. And so I finally stopped, and I know people are like, well, that's mean. Well, then do whatever you want. But it wasn't producing fruit, and I felt like I was just wasting. And then a lot of times when we do something like that, we pat ourselves on the back, like, yeah, I did a good idea. So like donating, oh, I just got rid of all this junk, brought it to Goodwill, and you're like, pat yourself on the back, I did my good deed for the day. I did my good deed. Well, it's like a fake validation. We're validating ourselves because we did a good deed, you know, for the day by helping that person. It's the same thing with family members who don't want to help themselves, and you feel like, well, I'm going to help them. Well, how many times are you going to help them before they help themselves? Sometimes people need to hit rock bottom. And really, desire is a game changer. If they have the desire is like the vehicle, you know, like if they have the desire to change, they will do what they have to do to change. The desire to be better has to be stronger than the desire to stay the same. You know, they have to want it. Want is such a powerful thing because when they want drugs and they want alcohol, boy, they will stand out there in 120 degrees to get it. But if they had to stand out there to get that money for a car or a house, would they still do it? That's the thing, is where is your desire? Where is your want? I just feel like this video is this topic is so relevant right now because people do need help. And so you just have to watch out. Sometimes it's better to help the person who's helping themselves. For example, like when I partner with companies online, like there's a candle company that I partner with. This girl makes non-toxic candles. She's a single mom, and her quality is beautiful. And so I want to support. She's doing what she has to do. She is like pushing and striving. We're not even in the same state, but she makes a beautiful product. She's a single mom. She's trying to, really trying to do the right thing, really growing, pushing her business forward, all that. I want to invest in that. So instead of giving somebody $50, here's a homeless person, $20 or $50, I'd rather support her and buy her candles. So you're just shifting where you're supporting and what's important to you, to help those people that are really trying to do something. You want to sow into good soil. You want to sow into people that are doing something. I mean, they're on fire. They're just like, I'm never going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. If this doesn't work, I'm going to try this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep pursuing. Sure, I might fail on my way up, but you're just like, man, I am pumped. I want to help that person. Not the person who's like, I can't do anything. Me, poor me, my childhood, my life, my this, my that. You're at some point you have to grow up and say, okay, yeah, maybe I had a bad childhood. Maybe some things happened to me, and maybe those wounds are deep. But how long am I going to let that steal my life? And then you're using all these people around you to help to just go get in that hole with you. Jesus helped pull people up and out. People are like, Jesus was friends of sinners. Yeah, but they didn't stay that way. He went with, if they wanted to stay that way, he would leave them on their way. He would leave them. He would walk away from them. He pulled people up and out of pits. Like, he transformed them, helped them to transform their life, make different choices. It's different. He didn't just go to the bar and hang out and drink with them. He pulled Mary out of the bar or whatever, the brothel. He pulled her out. It's like, yeah, he was a friend of sinners, but he didn't just hang out and partake in their sin. And if somebody wasn't ready or wasn't wanting to, he would leave them be. Well, that's your choice. That's your choice. I'm not talking about kids. It's different. I'm talking about grown adults who have the ability to choose, have the ability to have a good life. If you live in America, like, there's really no excuse why you can't make it. Yeah, things are expensive as heck right now, and it might be a little bit more challenging, but you better get creative then. You better start getting creative. I mean, you're probably wasting a ton of money. And most of those people that you're trying to help, I bet they are blowing a ton of money on cigarettes and alcohol. They could probably have a nice, comfortable apartment if they didn't blow all that money. I mean, think about it. That's got to be like $1,000. Oh, probably a week. I don't know. I read some statistics about how much some of these people make. And again, there's all different reasons. I'm not judging. I know there's different reasons why people are, and anyone can experience it. So I'm definitely not saying, like, anyone can lose their home. I get that. I'm more referring to the chronic habits and patterns. And if you're trying to always help somebody who's not wanting to help themselves but continues to indulge in their own desires and wants and needs, you're not doing anything. It's better for you to step out. Excuse me. I always suck in a lot of air when I'm up here, so that's why I'm hyper. But it's better for you to step out and let them be. Like, step out of that. Remove yourself from that situation. They're either going to sink or fail. Is really what they're going to do. They're going to either figure it out or not. Chances are they'll figure it out. Their desire to live has to be stronger than their desire to not. And you can always tell them, hey, I'm here for you when you're ready. When you're ready, you let me know, and so they don't feel totally disconnected or left alone or whatever, and you can be there for them. But again, walk in your own peace. Well, walk in God's peace, but keep the peace in your household. Do what God's called you to do, and don't feel like you got to carry everybody's load. It's not your load to carry. Let them carry their own load.